And welcome to another conversation. This week, I'm talking to the amazing ANNA DE LIRIUM all the way from Austria. So don't go away.
The conversation with a fellow clown. It's not very serious, we're clowning around. It's really just a clown-versation.
All right. I hope you like the distortion there, deliberate distortion on the voice. I think Tanja, aka Anna, will appreciate that. Okay, so welcome everybody. If you're new to the Clown Spirit channel, please hit subscribe and support the work we do. That would be awesome. My name is Barnaby. I'm the founder of Clown Spirit, where we take the power of clowning and we use it to bring lightness, joy, and connection to your life and the lives of everybody around you. So you're very welcome here for another conversation. Every week we talk to, or I talk to, a different leader, artist in this clown world about their craft, about their profession, and how they got into clowning, their lives in clowning, and we get to the bottom of what clowning means to them. So yeah, you're very welcome. And please, if you're just joining, do check in and say hi in the comments. Let me know where you are so that I can give you a big, warm Clown Spirit welcome. So we have Catfish in the house. We have Titania, who says, I am new here and I love what you do. Thanks. Thank you, Titania, for being here. Let us know where you're from today. And also, if you're new, please check out some of the clown reaction videos I've been doing. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see all of those right there. We also just finished last week a series called Create Your Clown Masterpiece, in which I gave 5 free sessions all about the creative process, particularly for clowning, but really it's about any artistic process. And you can see those videos for another few days. They're going to be freely available on the YouTube channel, on the Clown Spirit YouTube channel. After that, you can get them, but you'll have to pay money to get them as a course. Titania's in Vienna. Oh, very cool. So in the same place that Tanja is. All right, guys. So I'm so excited to introduce Tanja today. She is a wonderful musical clown. Her clown creation, her character is called ANNA DE LIRIUM, but she's actually Tanja Simma. She trained at Vienna's University of Music and Performing Arts and at the École de Mime et Clown in France. And she made her mark as Austria's first female artist with Cirque du Soleil, a great claim to fame there. As a veteran cast member of PALAZZO, which I hope she's going to tell us more about, she served deliciously funny comic entrees. She also co-founded the first clown theater in Vienna, the Theater Ole, Theater, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, and is the driving force behind her very own Comicompany. As a member of Red Noses Clowndoctors, she puts a smile on more than just the children's faces. So she does a lot of hospital clowning, which we're also going to talk about. She's worked a lot with Django Edwards as a director and also Noses Clowndoctors from Théâtre du Soleil. And she has genuinely earned a place in the hearts of fans everywhere on stages across the globe. She's done a lot of work in South America, Scandinavia, and of course, all across Europe. So very big, warm conversation. Welcome to Anna, to Tanja, I should say. Anna, Tanja.
You can say both. I listen to both. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah, that's okay. You know, do people do that a lot? Do people say just interchangeably Anna and Tanja?
Well, it depends in which context. But because you just mentioned Palazzo, that was a dinner show in a mirror tent, in a wooden mirror tent, and we played there every day, and we improvised a lot. There were clowns improvising between the people, and this show was like 4 hours because there's food, you know, there's a 4-course meal,
Yeah.
So it's a long time. And if we call each other in the field, we had to call each other by our character names, and at one moment it became kind of mixed and confusing, and it's like,
Yeah.
so in that time I began to also, Anna, that's me.
How did you come up with that name as a clown name? Because Anna itself isn't very clown-like. It doesn't sound like a clown. It sounds like a normal name, but then you've added the delirium bit, which kind of gives the clown feeling.
Actually, Anna came up when I was this funny waitress, comic clown waitress. And I like the name because it's simple, it's short, and I like simple, short names and things also. And also, but I learned that later. My great-grandmother's name was Anna. I didn't know.
No way.
It was like a coincidence, or maybe I knew and I forgot, and it came into my And the delirium was an idea of my brother, Tanja Simma, who is also sometimes my director and partner. And we were like looking, when I began to work on my solo show, I thought, I knew that Anna, like you just said, it's a normal name. It's not so special. We need something special after. And so we had the idea of maybe putting something di, fun, fan, and it should be a word game, a play with words. And I don't know, we collected a lot of things, anabolica, I don't know what. It was a lot of things.
Very cool.
And my brother came up with that. And when he came up with that, I laughed out loudly, and I thought, okay, that's it. And I proposed it to Django, and he loved it too. So it's in a way it fits. I mean, it's delirium is usually related to alcohol, and my clown character is not really related to alcohol, except in one number, but it's an accident. But it's kind of also, craziness, stupid.
I don't think it's necessarily related to alcohol. I mean, delirium is used, I think, in a lot of contexts, to denote madness or craziness or chaos. It's good. It's definitely a good clown connotation.
It works. It works.
And so once again, welcome everyone joining us today, and please do write in the comments your name or where you're from today. Just say hello. Hey, Avner's with us. That's very awesome.
Avner! We've never met in person, but somehow we found each other sometimes. He made a great comment on one of our videos.
Oh, how cool.
Ago. Yeah, and I of course, Hillary speaks a lot about him, and Hillary is a friend of Hillary Chaplin.
Yeah.
As a friend that I keep meeting.
Yeah.
So I hope I will meet you, Avner, one day.
Yes, me too. I want to meet you, Avner. We've met online. We did a clown-versation, but I've never met in person either. He's a wonderful artist and supporter of the community. So good to have you. And who else is with us today? Come on, you guys. Say hi in the comments. Let us know you're there. We have to keep meeting.
Please. I was a little bit nervous if I will have no people joining in. It's always my worry.
I know, me too. Does anybody care? Is anybody out there? Is anybody listening? And it's such a weird thing, this online thing. We've all got much more practiced and used to it and more confident with it over the last couple of years for obvious reasons, but there's still this weird feeling about it. Like, who is out there? Who is watching right now? We just don't really know. Could be anybody.
We don't
Just
know.
be. Hi, Just Be from Portland. You're just up the road from me. I'm in Hood River. We could almost wave to each other. I could wave out my window. Just Be. You can wave too, Anna. Tanja, Anna. Tanja.
I don't even know who I wave to, but I wave.
You're waving to Just Be, and you're waving to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the world behind me in colors.
I love that. I love atlases and maps, and that's so beautiful. Yeah. Do you have a marker on there to say which countries you've been to?
No, because it's a kind of a art print.
Oh, it's art. Yes. Well, you mustn't. Yeah.
Plus, actually, what I don't like is that South America and Africa are way too small on it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like the way I like the colors, and and it fits because I'm touring normally.
I love those maps where you actually get to see the real proportionate size of all the countries, and it's incredible. You know, the UK is like this. It's like tiny, and then
but Austria you cannot even see.
It just shows you what an inflated sense of self-importance we have. You know, the map makers.
And I've been in Latin America many times, and I began to really notice how they don't put South America in the right size. It's incredible on those maps that are, you know, the northern hemisphere is up, and
and South America is huge. So we're going to come to that and talk about South America in just a moment. But I wonder if you could. I always like to start with the story of how did you get into clowning in the first place, Tanja? How did you begin this crazy journey?
Yeah, well, it's funny because I wasn't the funny child. I wasn't the funny person in school. I was more an adapted, sweet little girl.
Yeah.
And my brother, who I work with, he was the crazy one always in the family. He was, you know, the middle child, and in school, But at one moment, a friend of mine, she said to me, I grew up in Linz, which is a smaller city 200 kilometers west from Vienna in Upper Austria. So I went to school there, and I was about to finish school, and I was about to think, well, what will I do? I don't know. And my friend said, I go to Vienna, I become a clown. And I said, me too. And later on, much later, I understood that I really took the decision in this moment. It was like an impulse coming from the guts. You know, it was like, I never thought of this before. But there was something that felt right about it. And then I began to join workshops. And the first one that this guy, she went to follow a teacher. And the first workshop he did later, I joined, I participated, and this was it. Actually, I decided this is what I want to do. And when people ask me how to become a clown, I tell them very often, first you have to take the decision, and you really have to take the decision. And if you take it, you will find your way. You will find the teachers. You will find your inspirations. But first, you have to say, yes, I am a clown, or I will be.
And do you think that's that is a sort of, what does that decision signify? Like, what is it? What are you saying about yourself, or what is the change that happens in that moment, you know, from being not a clown to being a clown?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's you focus on something, you find suddenly, if you decide I want to go there, you begin to go there. You do your first step, and then the second step, and you have your vision in front of you. I think that's, I mean, sometimes maybe you lose the way and you get lost somewhere, and then but you come back, and then you take everything that you found on the way lost. You take it, integrate it, and then you come back on track. I mean, I also doubted this decision, of course. I mean, it's life is like that. Sometimes you don't know if you want to go on, or if you can go on, or if it's hard. But I always came back to it. And what does it signify? I think it's you know, I never wanted to be an actress, for example. I don't know.
Right.
Why.
So you didn't have a sense of wanting to be with an audience. Like, that wasn't your drive.
No, I don't know what was my drive. I heard I go to Vienna and I become a clown, and I said, yes, me too. And I saw also some clowns, and the physical, the non-verbal play attracted me. That yes, but actually the audience, I don't know. I didn't even think of audience. I was it was more this I don't know, something in the spirit of clowning, in the style. There's so many styles, but there's something in the heart of clowning that I think it spoke to me. I don't know. It came out of nothing, nowhere, in a way.
What is that? Could you describe that now, looking back? Like, what is the spirit or the heart of clown for you?
The funny thing is, when I decided that in this moment, back then, when I was like 18 years old, I knew nothing about it. But now, with working on it and growing and developing, you understand more and more what it is. What is it? It's I think in the end is embracing humanity. It's embracing who you are. And learning to play with all the weaknesses, which are the most funny about a person. It's not the strength that make us laugh. It's the weaknesses and the vulnerability that can make us laugh. And sometimes even touch at the same time. They can touch you and make you laugh. And I when I speak about touching and laughing, I always get goosebumps, because this is then I have the feeling of a very profound work plus laughing. So it's a mix of laughing is great. It's freeze something and also distracts from worries and stuff, but it's also, it can be at the same time the opposite can also happen. And I think this is I don't know, the clowns that I like the best, the most. I will not tell names because there are many, but the ones that touch me and make me laugh, they also, I fall in love with them as a spectator, as an audience. And I think there's something heart-to-heart connection that is very important. This is the emotional part, but of course there must be also what is this in English? Handcraft. You have to learn to reproduce. Because if you decide that it's also a profession, then you need to know how to reproduce it, and because you cannot always be inspired and full of love and in the moment, you have to learn. Okay, if I'm not in the moment, if I'm not inspired today, I still know I can still do a good show. So you have to learn to
be able to reproduce the goods when the inspiration is lacking in some way. Yeah.
And so often it comes. Often it comes after.
What was your first sort of piece of work, you would say, that you kind of put out in front of an audience as a clown?
My first, well, I think the very first. Yes, well, there were some trial and errors in the beginning. I went with a friend who also was interested in something like that, and we went to Germany in the streets and we wanted to perform, but we had no show. We just improvised, and some things worked and something didn't work, and we were like, it's more difficult than we thought. And this same friend, it was not the one who
you went with originally.
Yes.
But a friend from the clown school.
The friend that said, I will go to Vienna and become a clown. It's not her. It's another one.
Right.
It's a little bit confusing, maybe.
So you went originally to Vienna and learned to be a clown with this other friend, and then you made a different friend and went to Germany and started to improvise on the street.
Yes. I think it was, I don't even know what was first. It was kind of in the same period.
Yeah.
And and this friend who I went to Germany in the streets, she invited me, she organized a big, I don't know how to call it. It's a kind of an event where people can join in outside, open air, near the Danube, where people can play games, and it was a kind of an animation thing. And she invited me to come as a clown and play also. So that's what I did, and that was maybe one of my first, without a show, just be there in a costume and makeup. What you think? I think I took a worker's trousers that have this thing. I don't know in English.
Like overalls.
Latzhose, like an overall. I just saw some clowns and I said, I'll do that too, and I put the mouth like this and the eyes like this. And the most funny thing was actually after, because it was a sunny day. And I really had a sunburn in my face, but not where the makeup was, you know.
Oh, no way. So you
When
had
I
the
took off
whole.
the makeup, I still had it. I was red in all the other areas where I didn't have makeup. So that was really interesting.
You are marked as a clown
Yes.
at that point for everyone to see.
But the first
Uh,
show I ever did, I think it was I began again another friend who became a colleague for a while.
mhm.
She asked me to join her with to do a children's show based on a book for children, and that's what we did. And it was very easy in Austria to do children's shows and also to sell children's. I mean, sell. There's a big need for children's shows all the time.
Yeah.
And people think clowns are for children, so this link is done very quickly. And I just went with the flow. I said, yeah, well, I do children's shows, why not?
Yeah.
And, later on, I decided I want to do clowning for adults.
Yeah. So is that where Django came in and you met Django?
No, it was Django came in. I don't know. It was a funny story because I was with Cirque du Soleil for 2 productions in 2 years in a row.
That's right. So hang on. We need to go back to this because let's get to Django in a minute. So this is an amazing story, really. So how did you go from this kind of like aspiring clown who just decided to do it very spontaneously and was kind of playing and doing children's shows, from that to being in 2 shows for Cirque du Soleil is a huge leap. Was that sort of like planned? Did you audition, or was it really accidental?
No, I auditioned, but I was already, let me see, like 10 years, something like that. I have been a clown already for 10 years, more or less, maybe a little bit more. Okay. I did already several children's shows, and I was on the way to work as comedy waitress in little dinner shows in Austria, and I began to like that. And this was actually the first thing they asked me to. And then there was Cirque du Soleil did a co-production with a German company that was a dinner show, also in a mirror tent, like PALAZZO, what I spoke about in the beginning. Yeah. Actually, this wasn't the same one, but older. PALAZZO was already a copy, kind of a copy.
Got it. Yeah.
It was called Pumped Up in Circumstance. Some people in the US know it because I think they did a tour in the USA also.
Okay.
So this was, and I auditioned because, why did I audition? Somebody told me they're looking for people, and I was like, I just saw Saltimbanco before. It was in the middle of the 90s. And when I saw the characters in the show, not the acrobats, but when I saw the characters, I thought, I can do that too. That's not difficult. And then somebody told me they're looking for people, so I sent them my material, and it was, at that time it was still a real letter with real photos on paper, written on a paper. I think I did even a handwriting. Yeah. And I sent it to them, and then they invited me to audition, and then I had to refuse like 3 times because it was in Paris, in, I don't know, Berlin, in I don't know where. And I always had no time and also no money to do the trip. But then they asked me, listen, do you want to come or not? Because if not, we will take you out of the database.
Right, that'll be it. That's your choice. That's your last chance.
Yeah. So and I said, well, no, I will try the next time when it's the nearest to Austria. So that the next time was Hamburg. And I thought, oh my God, I think I don't want to go. I'm not sure if I want to work for Cirque du Soleil. So,
yeah, because they weren't so big then, as big as they are now.
No, but already big, big. So, but I couldn't let it go. Also, it stayed in my head right here, and I couldn't let it go. So I thought, okay, I go, and then I will forget it because probably they won't take me. But then I can take it out of my head, and
get it out.
it's
Yeah.
finished, and I will never have to regret that I didn't try.
Yeah.
Sometimes I take decisions like that. If I turn 60, I don't want to regret not to have done anything, something that I wanted to do and I didn't dare, or I didn't decide. So that's why I went there, and that's why I didn't care of the result at all.
Right. And maybe that helped, that you didn't care.
I was completely relaxed, and everybody was, I want the job. And I was like, okay, let's get this over. So I came to the second round, and I came to and I think in the end, yes, we were like 60 in the beginning, and in the end they took 5 into their database. And then they told us, listen, it doesn't mean that you will have a job, but you will be maybe contacted or not. And some others were like, oh, fuck, it's so disappointing. And I was like, I'm glad, because I don't have time at the moment. I was in the beginning. I wasn't, not in the beginning.
I love your attitude, Tanja. It's amazing. So, like, whatever.
Sometimes it's like this. If it's my own shows, I'm very
right.
I'm not like that, unfortunately. But I thank you for reminding me, because I think I should try to get there with my own material.
Well, life. I mean, gosh, I think we can all learn something from that.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost Buddhist. I think if you don't want, then things come. If you're I don't know, if you're not, I want this so badly, then you're too tense and you want too hard and you try too hard, and sometimes it's not the way how it works. Well, so then they took me, and then they asked me to join first in a workshop with Michel Dallaire, but I couldn't. I had a premiere coming up. I think it was for Dralion, the clowns for Dralion. And the next thing was they invited me to come to this dinner show. And in this moment, I was really, this was what I wanted to do. And it was great. Yeah. And it was in this time also when I decided I really prefer to do shows for adults, because I believe that the adults are more in need of clowns than children. Children love them, and they are attracted. Clowns and children are attracted, but they don't need them so much, except in hospitals, or I don't know. Now we have refugee camps, and then it's
children who've been through a lot of experience and in some ways aren't children anymore, and then
plus they, I don't know, they are in the hospitals. It's interesting because I'm sorry I jumped. They are in a situation where everybody wants something from them. And if it's only, please get well, the parents, please get well. And the clowns are the only persons who don't want anything. They're just there and offer a play, and they can say yes or no. And even if they say no, it's great for them, because they regain their power. They can say no to us. We are the only ones that can say no to. So sometimes if they say no, I'm like, yes, that's good. And so there are situations where I think children need clowns, but in general, in a normal life, I think it's the adults who need them, because they forgot to play, they forgot to smile, they forgot to laugh, they try to function, they try to be perfect all the time. In their jobs, in their, I don't know what. And clowns, they show that it's maybe better not to be perfect all the time.
And to what you just said, that letting go of needing things to be perfect, or wanting things so much all the time, which I think adults, we get fixated, don't we, by an idea of how things should be, or the kind of person we should be. And somehow if anything can come in and kind of disrupt that and help to soften that, as you said earlier, that kind of hardness, that sort of tension of I want this, and that's what clowns are really good at, right?
and to that, and also to use who you are, to work with who you are and who you have become, and to include all, and to not, because in life we try to exclude the parts that we don't like so much about ourselves, or where we think we're not successful or not beautiful or not, I don't know, good enough. They are the important parts, actually, that they make us complete. And this is sometimes I have to, when I hear myself speaking, I think I should learn from what I say.
I was just thinking exactly the same.
It doesn't mean that I succeed to do that in life all the time, no. But my clown kind of teaches me. So
right, that's an interesting way of thinking about it. Your clown teaches you. Yeah. So I would like to know a little bit about. Let's move on to. Oh, hi Sophia, by the way. Sophia's joined us from Austria. Hi Sophia.
Do I know her?
Welcome to Clown Spirit. So let's talk about your kind of collaboration with Django. How did you meet him, and what was it like working with him? What did you learn from him, and how was what was the creative process?
I met him. That's why I talked already about Cirque du Soleil before. I came back from Cirque du Soleil and I wasn't sure where to go, what to do next, and I was like kind of and someone in Austria, Jürgen Schiel, he was an organizer of an international clown festival, and Django was teaching there for years. You know, he was one. There was 3 teachers who were there every year, and Django was one of them. And I think it was Jürgen or someone else that said, "Come to the do the master class with Django." And I said, why should I do a master class with Django? Well, you know, you have contacts, he's great, and you can go to Nizza after, and you can go there and there and there. And I was like, okay, I have nothing better to do. I go. And it was funny because also I didn't really want something special. I just thought, okay, I do it. Maybe great. And master class, yeah, why not? And then we were a lot on our own. We had to bring ideas and work on them, and he gave us some of his ideas, and we worked again, and then we showed it to each other. And I think the best thing that I really took from him was really his he encouraged me. He encouraged me to go for it, because we had like 3 days or something, and we had to show some work to each other, and I was like, I cannot do this, I cannot. It was an idea that I liked, but it was far away from how I work normally. And he took my face in his hands, looked up to me, because a little bit shorter. I'm very tall. I'm 1.84 meters. So, and he looked at me and said, I don't know what he said, but he encouraged me. He looked into my eyes and he said, don't give a shit, just do it. Have fun, enjoy, we're there. And I went and I surprised myself. And this is, to surprise yourself, this is really an experience. It's maybe not so something special for the others, but for me, it was like, wow, I didn't plan to do this or to say this. I was like really going somewhere where I didn't go, and it just happened. So this was something where I thought, wow, this was great. And I think we also did a show in this festival like a year later, and he loved it, and he said, I want to work with you. And I was intimidated. I thought, my God, this is he's such a strong character, and but I didn't know him well. You know, this is the first impression that you have. I was afraid that he will put all his ideas on me. He will, I don't know. He's too extreme. He's too to whatever.
Yeah, he seems that way, right? When you
Yeah.
see him, he's just such a huge personality, Django
Yeah.
Edwards, and
Yeah.
it seems like it would be very intimidating or dominating to work with. Somehow.
Yeah, that's what you think, but and that's why it took me a long time to say yes to his offer.
Yeah,
I think it took me 10 years, not because of that. I had other things to do. I had other directors also, and I was happy with them. And I thought at the moment, it's not the moment. But then I had it's now like, when was that? Like 15 years ago, I went through a difficult phase. I had a lot of doubts. I was almost burnt out. I had too much work, and I think I lost some passion. And I thought, I cannot go on, and I don't know what to do. And again, my gut's feeling was call Django. So I called Django, and I didn't have in mind that I will do a solo show. No, actually not at all. I was like, I want to finish, but something inside said, call Django. And I called him, and he said, come to Barcelona, send me all your ideas. You will do a solo show. And I was like, what? I cannot do a solo show. But I followed this impulse, and it was amazing, because I think, from my point of view, I think if you know what you want to do, he's really great to help you to make the best out of it. And then it will be your own. It's not my show is not a Django show.
right.
He's co-created by him, with him, and directed by him. And there are some elements where you would certainly recognize the handwriting of Django, but it's not a Django Edwards show. And he tried to really think like I think how I think, feel how I feel. So when he proposed something that came from an idea that I had, he went into his room, he worked on it, and he came back with the result sometimes, and he showed it to me, and he said, I wouldn't do it like this, but I tried to think like you, and I tried to feel like you, and that's why I propose it to you like that. And I felt very much seen and recognized, and the result was really amazing. He did it with me and for me. And he was very generous and encouraging. He's the most encouraging person, really.
And was that a collaboration, like a co-production, or were you hiring him as a director?
It's funny. the way we worked was a collaboration, but I paid him. He had a daily amount that he asked for, and he said it's like I don't know, it's a 4 or 5 hours package.
Yeah.
And I paid like a total for that, but sometimes he did it much longer. He worked all the night, and he came back the next morning with something.
Right.
So and in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of money. I mean, I still don't have so much money, but in the beginning was harder. And he offered me to help in this Nouveau Clowns Institute. He offered me to teach one day, I think, and how do you say in English? I wasn't paid, but I wasn't paid because I paid him with this. So he hired me,
right? Yeah,
to pay him with this. With this work. So it was how
some kind of exchange. I don't know.
Yeah. And that was great, because in the first, and it was, and I also helped to organize cabarets for the other students.
Yeah.
So we kind of found a way to be that I could be able to pay. It was not huge because of that, it was, and later on, I paid him, but it was still a collaboration. It was.
And that show, what was that show called, Tanja?
This first one was called The Substitute, because we had, and this is where for the writing he was great, because we had a lot of pieces numbers.
Yeah.
And he tried to put them in a context to create a story with it. And at one moment we found this idea of she always has to replace somebody. So she's the substitute of somebody. And this is how she comes into this
So who are you replacing, for example? Who are you replacing? Who do you replace in the show? Give us an example.
Well, first I try the first part of the show is that I try to get a job, and I don't succeed because I mess it up. And then in the second part, it's a little bit hard to tell without confusing. The only name that we use is that she finds a publicity in the newspaper where they look for a replacement for Siegfried and Freud. Not Freud, but Siegfried and Freud. And that's the only name dropping. And then, and this is actually the chicken number because you asked for the chicken, rubber chicken.
Yeah, we want the chicken.
So because she has to do something with an animal, and we had this rubber chicken.
This is the perfect segue, Tanja. You've explained, you've contextualized, and now you can show us the scene.
Well, it's a little bit. This is chicken. His name is Fred.
Hi, Fred.
Oh no, the camera is here. The thing is, I think I saw in one comment of one colleague in Facebook, one said, "What? But everybody's doing that."
Oh yeah, Jeff. Jeff. He's a provocateur. He likes to say things like that.
No, but he's right. He's right. Many clowns are using this because it's a funny object. I think it's no. Actually, I cannot use this camera.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Stupid funny object. And in the beginning, I used it only to just throw it away. But and the number that I do is actually a stupid magic number. And because Siegfried and Freud, it's like, and it's more funny in this context than if I do it out of it. It's also funny, but it's more like, it's funny. But in this context, she tries to replace, and she has to improvise with this chicken, and she doesn't know what to do, and so she does a okay, and she tries again. And it's a little bit old, this one. She just doesn't come up so quickly anymore. And then she does a hypnotizing.
Yeah.
And it's really out of this innocence, and I'm in the wrong picture. Out of this innocence and not knowing what to do, she creates things with it. And then I do something. I'm off.
I'm gonna try and make.
You do something with it. So okay. So I have to. The situation is she has to do a show and she doesn't know what to do, and this animal is presented to her, and then she's like, what? And she doesn't know what to do. She feeds the chicken, and then she, okay, I have to do something, and then she. It's with music, of course, and then she's very proud. She can do a hypnotizing, and then the second time it doesn't work. But it works with herself, and then she puts it to sleep, and she takes a tissue. This is not the original one; it's a little bit too big. But so I put it, and now she does a levitation, and the crazy thing is, it works even though everybody knows that it's on my arm. So I do a. I don't know if it works on the camera.
Yeah, totally it does.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah.
So and it's my arm, and even my own illusion. I become a victim of my own illusion. And you can even take a ring. Wait. You can even take a ring So, and put it around.
Yeah.
And so it's very stupid. And in the end, it falls asleep, and I almost kill it. And it's I have to reanimate it. It's like
Yeah. Mouth to mouth.
and then it's dead. And I walk off, and I think it's a failure. But it wakes up, and in the end, it kisses me. And it becomes, in the show, it even becomes my lover. I mean, lover, not lover, love. And there's a funny twist in the story later, because, yeah. And how did it happen? I always had this chicken in this bag that I have been using, in this purse that I've been using for a long time, already before the show. And it was just in there, and the legs.
That's a great image.
Yeah, and I didn't do so much with it, but in this show it became kind of a second character.
Yeah. And it seemed to me from the pictures that you were playing it like a musical instrument, like blowing into it and playing it, but it wasn't.
No, I was thinking of this, but it's hard. Because I saw a video on YouTube. I think somebody did with chicken, tuned chicken.
Yeah.
But I don't know, either they were really prepared or they did a fake. I don't know. It didn't work.
Have you seen do you know Paula Malik?
I know the name.
Yeah, you should, because she's from Colombia originally, but I think she's based in Paris as well. Mm-hmm. And she did or maybe she's in Madrid now. Actually.
I saw the video. No, I haven't met her. Yes, she does a number with animals, rubber animals.
Pigs. Yeah.
Pigs.
Yeah, and she did it on one of those talent shows on the TV, maybe Spain's Got Talent or something. Yeah. And did quite well.
Great. Yeah. I mean, I have these pigs also. And one of them is in the beginning of the show. The beginning is that Anna has to record a little part of Chanson d'amour of this song. Mm-hmm. Chanson d'amour, and she's hired to do only rat-da-rat-da-da. That's it. That was one idea that Django had. For example, I told him I would like to do something with that song because it's, in a way, it's stupid. Rat-da-da-da-da. When I was a child and I heard this song, I thought, my God, what's that? That's stupid. And then we thought, what could we do with this song? And the idea was that she's in the recording studio and she does only rat-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And in this recording studio, this is the opening scene. There are many things that she shouldn't touch, and there's a loop station, and that goes wrong. And then there's also this pig. She steps on it, and then she uses it also as a sound a little bit. It's not, yeah.
It's really interesting to hear about your creative process with Django, and because we were talking last week about this creative processes for clowns, and one of the things I was saying was that for me, at least, it's really difficult to work on my own. And even if you want to create solo work, I find it so important to have somebody there, who's reflecting back, what I'm doing, or is kind of just contributing ideas, or so that there's a partnership. Because clowning is about relationship and it's about partnership, even if you're on the stage on your own.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's sort of something you found. Have you ever tried just making work on your own, completely alone?
Well, the creation part is very hard for me. What I can do is like practice. If I have the things done, I can practice them. I can improve them.
Yeah,
I might find some, but creating and no, for me, I didn't do a solo until 10 years ago. I've been a clown more than 30 years now. And it took me 20 years or more until I dared to do a solo. And it was Django who pushed me even there. I was like, and then I thought, wow, it's great too, because you learn to, finally you understand how powerful you are. Because I thought, the same thing. I like to be in a relation. I was always in duos, and I love to play together, because one has an idea, the other one has an idea. The first one has the idea because of the idea of the other one, and you didn't have this without. So I don't know. I didn't want, and I thought to tour alone and.
Yeah. So now I'd love to talk about this, the work. So you're in a new partnership, right? A new creative, well, not very new, but I forget the person's name, but you were telling me just before we came on air.
Her clown name is Colette Gomet, and she's from France, and she's small. I'm big, she's small, so we are already visually we are great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also classic. There are many duos, one big, one small. It's already funny.
And what's the work like that you've been creating? Can you give us a flavor of what does it look like
with her? It was funny because when we met, we were impressed by each other because we're both very strong physical, visual clowns, and then we found out when we work together, both of us are put in another place. So there's something that changed because of her presence, and I became more gentle, tender, touched, slower. I also had to work on becoming slower because she's very speedy.
Okay.
I'm not a slow clown, but we had to find we worked a lot to make the contrast bigger.
Yeah.
Also, not only our size and height, but also the emotionally and physical, the speed.
Yeah.
And we did, because she has been a hospital clown for a long time, and has been a hospital clown for a long time. And so we are used to improvise a lot. So our first entire show was a huge draft, where we just had some ideas that we found on our getting together in Latin America. Actually, it was in Peru.
Oh, wow.
And we just said, okay, this is the beginning and this is the end of a scene, and in between we improvise. We don't know how to get there, but when it's this moment, it's over. And so this is how we found material. And at one moment we began to write, and she's more the writer than me. She's also more director than me. So at one moment I gave it a little bit in her hands, because I thought she's also stronger in that. She worked with Alain Gautret a lot. He was in France. He was a very known teacher and director. Okay. Important. I think I'm not sure how much he's known in other countries.
I haven't heard of him.
Now I'm in France, and if this name shows up, people go, "Whoa!" It's like,
right.
I understand. He taught the clowns to write for their character.
Yeah.
Because very often the clown is great and the writing is not great in shows. Or maybe great, but not as great. The level of the clown is often higher than the story.
Yeah, I find that often, yes.
Yeah. And this is, and he was specialized in that. And I think, so I profited and still profit a lot from her work with him.
Yeah.
So she did a lot of that. And I don't know, how is it? We were actually on the way to do Avignon, the big festival where all the programmers go, and then the COVID came and we were kind of knocked out by that.
So you hadn't done much touring
no.
Up to this point, but you're hoping to now, right? So where can we see you potentially?
Well, I was in Gran Canaria. I was there alone because Hélène could not. She's also busy teaching. She's
Uh-huh.
very how do you say that in English?
Busy?
She was already a good and known teacher before
Okay.
COVID, and people now are asking her again. I was a beginner teacher, and because of COVID, I have to restart again. So she's busy, and that's why I went there alone. And next thing will be in Spain, because we were lucky to have been found by a Spanish agency.
Oh, wow.
And she already organized 2 contracts for us, and one will be in Figueres in Catalonia, and the other one in a place near Bilbao. I never know how to say Arrigorriaga, something like this. There's a festival.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and she said she wants to organize more work for us in Spain. So let's cross fingers. Maybe this could be a big help to go get back on the road. And we will play in Paris in La Voix Moderne Parisien.
Oh, brilliant.
In May 18th until 22nd.
Well, so fantastic. So if anybody wants to go see Tanja and Hélène, what's the name of the show or the name of the company?
It's the one and the one. And the one in bigger letters and the one in small letters. So
in English.
In English, yeah, because we did and will hopefully do again many shows in the outside of France in well, not in English speaking necessarily, but it's more international. The one and the one.
Do you talk in the show, or is it silent? No. Good.
We are not silent, but we don't talk with words.
Yeah.
And that's why we can tour everywhere. It's that's the great thing about clowning. It can be international, universal.
Yeah. Wonderful. We're coming near to the end of the time, but I really wanted to talk about the hospital clowning before we finish, because that's something you do a lot, right? And I'm sure a lot of people that gonna watch this are interested in hospital clowning. So, and you particularly mentioned that you've gone online with doing hospital clowning recently. How has that been? What is it like doing clowning online in a hospital?
Well, it's not my preferred way to play, I have to say. But at the moment, it's we did it in the beginning of the confinement in COVID, due to COVID. And then we could go back to the hospitals quickly. And now I'm doing it again because like I said before to you, and my vaccination status is not yet done in a way that I can work in the hospitals in France. And that's why they give me now some days in online, which is great. I mean, there is some great things about it because you can do things that you cannot do normally. You know, I can, for example, I don't know, and I'm out of the picture. And
it's great.
And I can come back with something. I don't know. There can be a lot of surprises, and you can work with you can work in and out of this of the frame, and to learn to.
And you don't have to worry about hygiene and touching and all those things.
And we can work without masks. Oh my God. Because in the hospitals we had to work with masks all the time and all day. This is
it must be super hard.
There are some services where we always had to wear masks, but we could take them off in between, between the rooms. But now we have to wear them all the time, and it's tiring. You don't breathe enough, and so no masks. And I think I'm still about to learn how to use the screen well. There are things that are great, but of course, what is always missing is you don't really feel where they are, the people who you play for. And if it's it's very visual. You have to see in the camera. Sometimes you can estimate, maybe, but you
can see you can see the person in the room that you're working for?
But it's a very small screen. They use the phones. And it can be far away and small, and this is really a difficulty.
So they're seeing you on a phone as well. So
I am on my computer, but for them, I'm on the phone. Yeah.
So your face is looking very small for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe sometimes they have tablets, but
yeah.
But it works. I mean, there's children who really interact, and then you have to find different ways to interact.
Yes. At least it's one-to-one, which must be easier than if you're trying to do online performance for a big audience, where it's almost impossible to see how people are reacting. Whereas at least one-to-one, you can have a game. You can play a game with that person.
Yeah, but this is basically what we do in the rooms, also in the hospitals. We first of all, we have to get the permission to enter in a way. Yeah. It doesn't mean that we ask, can we come in? But in a way, you know, on the emotional level, you have to find a way if you're welcome or not. And if you're not or not sure, you have to be it's delicate, and you have to be very sensitive for that. And this is great at the same time, because it's the opposite. That's why I love it. It's the opposite, like on stage, because on stage, people pay to come. They want to see you. They decided before that they want to see you.
Yeah.
And that's a different situation than in hospitals, where you don't even know if you can enter. You're not supposed to be there. They are not there for you. They are there for something else. And maybe they're ready to have you in the room for a moment. Yeah. And I love this contrast. Because you have to be really humble. Yeah, and I also learned to not to take the things personally. If somebody doesn't want you, it doesn't mean it's because you're bad or you're doing something bad. It's just not the moment.
Yeah.
And you don't even know why. Sometimes you know, but or so it's more. It's I don't know. It's the opposite. In on stage, sometimes I have to be aggressive, sort of. I mean, not aggressive. I'm not, but I go there and I offer something, and I wait for the reaction. I see, do you like it or not? But I go there, and in the hospital room, you have to have them come.
Yeah.
And in fact, you profit from that for stage too.
Explain.
Well, it's the one of the most important things that even I still keep forgetting, is that you have to receive. Not only give, but also receive. And to allow yourself, the clown, to receive, and then throw the ball back, but not to just immediately throw it back. You know, this is I'm still too fast, too quickly. And this is the hard part about online, because I have the feeling I have to do something all the time. I have to offer something all the time. And it's the opposite. Also on screen, it's the opposite.
Beautiful. Well, that's such a good note to finish on. I think it's a very good sort of reminder for us all, and it takes us back to the earlier part of our conversation, I think, where we were talking about this Buddhist kind of letting go and not caring so much, right? Kind of connects back.
Yeah.
So
be beautiful. In the moment.
Yeah, be in the moment and allow things to come to you. I think that's what I was getting from that.
And like that, we can have surprises if we allow things come to us. Yeah.
Like your surprise with Django, where you had this kind of assumption about what he was like, and then you allowed something to change. Beautiful. Tanja, I was wondering, would you give us a little just to finish, would you play us out with a little saw?
Yes. I hope I can, because it's the long one that I never use.
Oh, well, if you fail, it will be a beautiful...
I have a shorter one that goes into a suitcase, but it's still in the suitcase. So I will try. So
Whoa, that's huge.
yeah, I mean, I have to say there are people outside there, out there,
Yeah.
who are masters with this thing, and I'm a clown who tries. But
Don't
I
worry,
love it.
we're not comparing.
I'm just wondering if I put on some music or not, or if I just
No, just do a little solo, and we'll just finish with that.
It's too big for the screen.
So before you start, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing all this wonderful knowledge and wisdom with the people.
And thank you for inviting me. I mean,
Yeah.
I almost invited myself. I said
was
hello.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
I love speaking. I mean, it could go on forever.
Yeah, I know. Always,
days,
always.
So I try. This is I have to tell you, this is a longer and softer one that I usually use, and it's harder to play. But it's not the season yet, but I will try.
It's beautiful. Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you so much.
It's a Christmas song, I'm sorry, but it's very useful to use the range of the saw, and not so difficult to play. And
that was wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Tanja, Anna, for being with us today.
You.
And thanks everyone for joining us for another Clown-versation. Next week, I'll be talking with Johnny Melville. So join us for that.
Oh, great.
Thursday.
Hi, Johnny.
Bye for now.
Yeah, thank you. I hope to come to Colombia soon.
Yes. See you in Colombia very soon.